Have you ever been surrounded by people and still felt completely alone? Not physically alone, emotionally alone. The strange kind of loneliness that appears in the middle of conversations. The kind that makes you wonder, why do I still feel unseen? But what if that's not true? And what if the thing that's creating your loneliness is also the thing you've spent years using to protect yourself? Let's explore that. Problem deep dive. Loneliness isn't always obvious. Sometimes it hides behind a busy social life. You answer messages, you show up to gatherings, you laugh at the right moments. You know how to keep conversations flowing. From the outside, everything looks normal. But internally, something feels disconnected. You leave interactions feeling strangely empty. Not because people rejected you, because somehow they never really met you. And that's where the confusion begins. You start questioning yourself. Maybe you're too sensitive. Maybe you're difficult to connect with. Maybe nobody understands you. But often, something deeper is happening. Psychologists sometimes describe human connection as a process of mutual recognition. Not simply being around others. Not simply being liked. Being known. The problem is that many people become experts at being accepted, but they never learn how to be known. These are very different skills. You learn what version of yourself gets positive reactions. The agreeable version. The funny version. The confident version, the strong version. And gradually, without realizing it, that version becomes your social identity. A mask doesn't have to be fake. Sometimes it's just incomplete. And the more incomplete your self-expression becomes, the lonelier you feel. Because people are connecting to the performance, not the person behind it. This creates a painful contradiction. You receive attention, but not understanding. You receive approval, but not recognition. You receive company, but not connection. And eventually, you begin asking a question you can't quite explain. Why does being around people sometimes make the loneliness worse? To understand that, we need to understand what your brain is trying to accomplish. Before we go further, it's important to understand something. This pattern does not mean you're broken. It doesn't mean you're incapable of intimacy. And it doesn't mean there's something fundamentally wrong with you. In fact, for many people, this pattern began as an intelligent adaptation, a survival strategy. Your brain learned something very early. Certain parts of you felt safe to show. Other parts did not. Maybe vulnerability was ignored. Maybe emotions were criticized. Maybe authenticity felt risky. Maybe fitting in felt necessary. So your nervous system became efficient. It learned how to manage impressions, how to avoid rejection, how to maintain belonging. And for a while, that strategy worked. The problem is that what protects you from rejection can also prevent connection. The same wall that keeps danger out also keeps closeness out. And that's where loneliness often begins. Not from isolation, but from protection. Which raises an important question. How exactly does the brain create this experience? Psychological mechanism. Imagine your mind as a house. The front room is carefully organized. This is where guests enter. It's where your social self lives. The version of you that knows how to function, how to perform, how to be accepted. But deeper inside the house are other rooms. The rooms containing uncertainty, fear, needs, dreams, insecurity, regret. The parts of yourself that feel more vulnerable. Many people spend years inviting others into the front room. Very few people ever enter the rest of the house. And eventually, the brain notices something important. Nobody knows what's inside. This creates emotional loneliness, not social loneliness. Emotional loneliness occurs when your inner experience remains unseen. Research in social neuroscience suggests that connection isn't measured only by proximity. It's measured by perceived understanding. Your brain constantly asks a question. Do these people truly see me? When the answer feels unclear, the social brain remains unsatisfied, even if you're surrounded by others. Here's a simple mental model. Think of connection as signal transmission. Your inner world is the signal. Your social behavior is the transmitter. If the transmitter only sends a filtered version of the signal, the receiver never gets the full message. People respond to the version they receive. Meanwhile, the deeper parts of you remain disconnected. The result? You feel lonely while being socially successful. Not because connection is absent, because authenticity is partially blocked. And once you see this mechanism, you can start changing it, not by becoming a completely different person, but by gradually reducing the distance between who you are and who people are allowed to see. Principle 1. Notice where you perform. For 1 week, observe moments when you automatically manage how others see you. Maybe you hide opinions. Maybe you avoid discussing something meaningful. Maybe you act more confident than you feel. Why it works. Behavioral psychology shows that awareness interrupts automatic patterns. You can't change a habit you can't see. Example: during a conversation, you laugh off a difficult experience instead of speaking honestly about it. Simply noticing that moment is the first step, not changing it, just seeing it. Principle 2. Share 1 degree more truth. Connection doesn't require complete vulnerability. It requires gradual authenticity. Why it works. The brain learns safety through experience. Small, successful moments of honesty help update old threat predictions. Example: instead of saying, "I'm fine," you say, "Honestly, it's been a difficult week." Not dramatic, not oversharing, just slightly more real. Over time, your nervous system learns that authenticity isn't always dangerous. Principle 3. Look for resonance, not approval. Many lonely people unconsciously chase approval, but approval and connection are not the same thing. Why it works. Approval activates reward systems. Connection activates belonging systems. They're related but different. Example: someone compliments your work. It feels good, but a friend says, "I've felt that exact same way." And somehow that feels deeper, because resonance creates recognition. The goal is not being admired. The goal is being understood. Principle 4. Let people earn access. Many people think authenticity means telling everyone everything. It doesn't. Healthy connection involves selective openness. Why it works. Trust develops gradually through reciprocal vulnerability. Your brain feels safest when disclosure matches trust. Example: instead of revealing your deepest struggles immediately, share something meaningful and observe how the other person responds. Connection grows in layers, like opening doors inside the house 1 room at a time. Principle 5. Build a relationship with yourself. This may sound unrelated, but it isn't. Sometimes loneliness around people begins with disconnection from yourself. Why it works. The more aware you become of your own emotions and needs, the easier they are to communicate. Awareness creates clarity. Clarity creates connection. Example: spend 5 minutes writing. What am I actually feeling today? Not what you should feel, what you genuinely feel. The better you understand your inner world, the easier it becomes to invite others into it. Integration. Let's return to the house. For years, you may have believed loneliness meant nobody wanted to enter. But often, that's not the problem. People are standing at the door. The challenge is that only 1 room is open. And after a while, even a crowded room can feel empty. Connection isn't built by adding more people. It's built by reducing the distance between your inner world and your outer world. Little by little, conversation by conversation, moment by moment. Every honest interaction shortens that distance. Every small act of authenticity weakens the old protective pattern. Not all at once, but enough. And eventually, something surprising happens. You stop feeling like you're performing connection and start experiencing it. Quiet, empowering, close. Maybe the loneliness you've been carrying isn't evidence that you're disconnected from everyone. Maybe it's evidence that some part of you has been waiting to be seen. Not by the entire world, just by a few people. And perhaps more importantly, by yourself. The goal was never to become more impressive, or more likable, or more perfect. The goal was always to become more visible. Because the deepest form of connection begins when the person others meet is increasingly the same person who exists inside. And sometimes, the distance between loneliness and belonging is not another relationship. It's one honest step toward being known.